protocols observed in advance, because I know we are yet to establish one. So permit me, Mr. Public Speaker, to just rearrange, not by presidential fiat, but by collective decision. I need to recognize the virtual presence of our other participants that have joined us through the internet. I'd like to first acknowledge Dr. Olivier Manigati, who is the team lead of PROA Lab. I know he's somewhere around West Africa, although he is based in Bobo Dioulasso in Burkina Faso. But it appears that presently he is in Cotonou, the capital of the Benin Republic, I think. Shortly, he will be speaking with us. And so we welcome Dr. Olivier Manigati. Thank you. I know he's representing PROA Lab and representing the West Africa Health Organization, the health unit of the Economic Community of West Africa States. So, Olivier, you are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Professor Denloy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I also like to welcome the one I will refer to as the big masquerade, the extant team lead of Sandia National Laboratories in New Mexico, specifically Albuquerque in the United States of America. He is representing the whole team whose responsibility are for Nigeria. Yesterday and the day before, the man was with us and he gave an opening remark for the pre-conference workshop on shipping of biological waste, biological samples. He spoke before Dr. Eric Cook began his presentations, which lasted till yesterday. Eric Cook had been with us in Nigeria, even though he's currently somewhere in the world. I don't know if he's in the US now. The last time I spoke with him on his geolocation, I think it was in Malaysia. And I think it was on a travel where he actually was presenting those sections that he did 2 days ago and yesterday. So I will also send good wishes to Dr. Eric Cook. But now I am welcoming especially Walid Joyan. Walid Joyan is here for Sandia National Laboratories and the Defense Threat Reduction Agency of the United States of America, who have been giving us support in no small measure. Yes, support in no small measure. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished members of NiBSA, I would like you to join me in welcoming Walid Joyan to our midst.
Thank you so much, Dr. Denaloy. Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
He's going to make some remarks now. I'd like to share with us that he is actually making a big sacrifice, stamping his commitment to this conference. Walid, to say he is under the weather will be a short statement. He has written me this morning and stated that he is not quite well. but yet is going to stay on until he has made these opening remarks. And so I immensely appreciate the commitment of Walid to this conference. Mr. Walid Joyan, you are welcome. You may now make your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So welcome everyone. On behalf of Senia National Lab and our sponsor at U.S. Defense Threat Reduction Agency, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this 5th annual conference of the Nigerian Biological Safety Association. I'm pretty confident that this conference will serve as a forum for gathering and disseminating the most recent biosafety and biosecurity knowledge in Nigeria, as well as providing opportunities for dialogue on recent advances in sustainable response to the pandemic and epidemic outbreaks in the region. I also believe that this platform will allow us to discuss the emerging and re-emerging diseases, as well as areas of diverse research fields, and that it will also let you share your experience and knowledge through various session, presentation, and activities throughout this 2-day conference. Again, as Dr. Denaloy mentioned, I'm not feeling well, but I hope you all enjoy your time here, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olivier Barigati. Oh, we are here. Thank you for giving another round of applause. Mr. President, are we still taking anybody online or we're done tonight? All right, in the short term, then we can move ahead. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, you're welcome. Like I said every time, I want to invite to the top table, and at the same time, immediately after you sit down, we will be taking his welcome address. I'm referring to no other person but the chairman of the Loga Organizing Committee, Dr. Kingsley Ochen. Put your hands together for him as he comes. The more you clap, the faster he comes to the eye table. Yesterday, when we called you on phone, I thought he was younger than this. Can we celebrate him? Then immediately you sit, we do the welcome address. Thank you, sir. All right, let's quickly welcome Mr. Olusegun, country representative of DTRA to the ITV. Mr. Olusegun, thank you so much and you're welcome.
Thank you, and good morning. Eminent guests here present, the chairman of the occasion, who is already close by, Honorable Dakuku Peter Side, representative of the DG of NSCDC, my president, representative of DTRA here present, representative of the Nurses and Midwifery Council of Nigeria here present, distinguished colleagues, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen here present, physically and virtually. I'm highly honored and delighted that the spirit of collaboration among key opinion leaders stakeholders, and biorisk experts who are represented here today. And I'm honored to welcome you to this 5th Nigerian Biological Safety Association International Conference 2020, holding in Federal Capital City, territory of Abuja. The Nigerian Biological Safety Association has, over the years, been committed to providing a forum for training, issue-based debate, and discourse of concern with a view to promoting biosafety, biosecurity, and biorisk management. She has contributed in no small measure to improving the safety and security capacity of professionals in health, in environment, in agriculture, in engineering, in education, in law, in politics, and in all fields of life. We are committed as an association to enshrine a culture of biosafety and biosecurity in the African continent, thereby attaining global health safety. We are all witnesses that the world has continued to envisage and witness outbreak of diseases that has made tremendous impact in the social, economic, political, and health status of people. The recent outbreaks that we hear globally of COVID-19, of Lassa fever, of Ebola virus, just to mention a few, speaks volumes. Examining how the field of biosafety and biosecurity currently approaches diversity and inclusion in all walks of life, it has become imperative for countries to build a sustainable culture of mitigating the impact of these pandemics. This is why, as an association, we have carefully chosen the theme of this year's conference as building sustainable biosafety and biosecurity capacity for effective response against disease outbreak in Africa. This is carefully selected so we can address the dangers of pre- and post-pandemics. As the conveners of the NiBSA Conference 2022, we see this as an opportunity where we can all collaborate for a common cause to build a new solution to disease outbreaks, particularly in Africa and globally at large, while maintaining a safe environment. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seasoned speakers and facilitators that cut across Africa and America with extensive experience in biosafety and biosecurity, medical and regulatory, amongst others, who will do justice to the theme and the substance of this conference. Let me use this opportunity to express my profound gratitude to everyone who, in one way or the other, has continued to be involved in the biosafety and biosecurity ecosystem and serving selflessly to achieve safety and better solutions to Africa and Africans in pre- and post-pandemic outbreaks. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I therefore urge you to utilize this opportunity to network, to socialize, and enjoy the serene atmosphere in Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Ultimately, on behalf of the local organizing committee, I welcome you once more to NiBSA Conference 2020. Thank you for 2022. Thank you for your support and attendance, and do enjoy your stay in Abuja. Thank you. Can we please give the LOC chairman another round of applause? Ensuring safety everywhere we find ourselves is very important. Thank you so much for that brief speech, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward. I am sure NiBSA has a slogan, right? If we don't have, then I will look for one right away. NiBSA enhancing biosafety security. NiBSA. So we have to keep that. At close intervals, I will be saying that. NiBSA enhancing biosafety security. Right? I'm biosecurity. All right, thank you. Biosafety and biosecurity. Okay, NiBSA enhancing biosafety and thank you so much. God bless you all. Put your hands together for yourself one that together. All right, as it means we are moving straight to goodwill messages. And the first, I am inviting for their goodwill messages as the representative of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. Please put your hands together for Dr. Yakubu Amadu Glaji.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Yakubu Amadu Glaji. I'm representing the Registrar, Veterinary Council of Nigeria, who sends his sincere greeting to you people today. He had actually wanted to be here himself, but due to other official engagement, he's not able to make it, and he says his seat cannot be vacant. They have to send somebody to come and represent him, and that one fell on me. So we're once again welcome to this very August gathering. We in the Veterinary Council of Nigeria, as you might know, we are a regulatory body that regulates the activities from training to the actual practice of veterinary medicine in Nigeria. And that involves a lot of use and storage of antimicrobials and biologics, which if not properly done, all of us know what it can lead to. That is, the environment will not be safe. So the Veterinary Council of Nigeria views this conference very, very timely and important, and consider it one of the very activity that will make people know the importance of the use of antimicrobials and biologics in the society today. A lot of it, that happens, as the misuse, are happening today. It surprised me in 2019 when a paper was presented on a drug that officially now is not, then was not being prescribed in the veterinary medicine. But when a survey was done on the antimicrobial resistance of it in animals, it was found that it was resistant. Why? Because the drug has been abused in the environment, and it has been picked up from by the animals from the environment. Now I've started developing resistance to the drug that has not been officially being prescribed. So you see the danger of the things we are facing. So we just have to continue doing such programs, please, to let people know that the importance of the use of drug correctly today is very, very important. How much of the storage, So in that sense, that is why Veterinary Council of Nigeria developed a drug formulary for its fresh graduates, for them to know how to use the drugs on the field. Now, being fresh on the field, you want to demonstrate some exceptional performance, not knowing that he might not be doing the right thing. That was why that drug formulary was developed. So any fresh graduate that is leaving has to be given that drug formulary for him to know how to use it. Secondly, we have a very active committee on ground to see to it that drugs and biologics are stored according to the manufacturer's directive. So we have very active veterinary practice premises regulation committee that goes around to see that if you are keeping any drug or biologics, you make sure you do it according to the prescribed rules and regulations. So I think this is something that we have to continue doing, telling people, enlightening them to see to it that they do the right thing. Because biosafety is everybody's thing now due to do it, or else we are going to have a lot of problems. So I learned that some level in some countries, not Nigeria, there are some tuberculosis microbacterium that have now developed resistance to any drug. It's not because of anything, but because of the misuse. So once again, I bring sincere greetings from the registrar, Dr. Nurallah Muhammad Abubakar, of the Registrar of Veterinary Council of Nigeria, to this gathering, and wish you successful conference and fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. The representative of the Registrar of Veterinary Council of Nigeria, Dr. Yakubu Amadi Laji, please give him another round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. President, sir, I don't know how on earth I forgot to invite you for your welcome address, maybe because I took the introduction of those online for your welcome address. So I'm sorry. So, ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not easy, please put your hands together for our dear President, Professor Abiodun Bengloye, as he takes his welcome address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I want to assure you that not in the language of the President of the Federal Republic, he will always assure us. I want to assure you, the compare for this program, that no offense is taken. And no offense is taken in particular because what I would have said is already with everybody, because the President's remark is already in the book that we have with us, the program for this event. Therefore, I will crave your indulgence not to read verbatim what you already have and have read or will read. So you may be disappointed if you are expecting me to go through word for word. So I like to therefore appeal that first let us take the protocols already established as we have it in the speech, printed, and for all others that are not mentioned there. It is with great excitement that I welcome us. Take this oral presentation, therefore, as complement to what is already printed. My excitement that we are here is because for many of us, we were together last year in Lagos at the Lagos State University College of Medicine that co-hosted the conference. My joy is that we are here together again. And more importantly, there were some that were not with us last year, but our interactions on our various platforms and our meeting here since 3 days ago has assured us that we were not counted among the casualties of COVID-19. And that is very important. It is important because many of us actually constitute the front line in the battle against COVID-19. Because as you know, sir, as you know, ma'am, okay, I think the only woman also is from, sorry? Oh, Nursing Council, okay. So I will refer to her as ma'am and not as sir. But if she was from NSCDC, I would refer as sir. Yes, ma'am. Okay, great. Thank you very much, ma'am. So I will say, if I take an example from myself, said while we were assessing some laboratories in a West Africa mission, within a period of 8 days, I had to go through COVID-19 tests 16 times. 16 times. Reason is that I was crossing the borders from one country to another. And as you are crossing the border, you must take the test. 2 days after we finished the mission, my counterpart in Mali tested positive for COVID-19, Professor Jibril Sangari. It is still a mystery how we have worked so closely together. And in all those 16 times and more, I have never tested positive. What that means, thank you very much for celebrating my life and being alive. So what that means, therefore, is that many of us are here by providence, not because we know how we can do. And that is why we must give glory and honor to the giver of life. My mission this morning is to encourage us to keep supporting all efforts that will bring about safety of life and security of life-threatening pathogens. That is our business in NiBSA. It is so much so that in the 12 years of our existence as an association, having agreed to come together to share knowledge and to improve ourselves professionally, in order to stand against the wiles of pathogens capable of causing diseases and claiming lives, we have been coming together and sharing such knowledge. We have been coming together and increasing and improving the human resource for our country, for the West Africa region, and the African continent. And that is what we have been doing. And coming together in a conference like this has actually helped us greatly to improve on our technical resource base. It has been like that over the last 10 years, when we started the issue of trainings, NiBSA has been able to increase the membership from the about 16 persons that attended the inaugural meeting on 24th of November 2010, now to over 600. I am also happy about that, but I'm not clapping because I'm holding the microphone alone. I'm actually rejoicing with you in my heart. But the great thing about it is that most of the members of NiBSA are joining because we were carrying out training all around. And so if you want to say that those more than 600 people are not illiterate or uninformed persons in the area of biosafety and biosecurity, then you will be right. But that is what NiBSA has been able to achieve. We appreciate the fact that many of us have the knowledge of biosafety and biosecurity in our different facilities, but that NiBSA has been able to bring everything together and harness it for our common good is what is most gratifying. As I caution in this introduction and welcome remarks, I like to let you know that in the last 10 years, we have performed trainings that involved, I think, on not less than 16 different occasions in different cadres: bio-risk management, biosecurity, waste management, etc., etc. And of course, shipping of, trainers and practitioners in shipping of biological waste. These are very important tenets in biosafety and biosecurity. But I want to say loud and clear that having done this over the last 10 years of our 12 years of existence, it is important that the paradigm has to change at this time. The paradigm has to change from training to practice. And that even if we must continue along the trajectory of training, the paradigm also still has to change from the pedestal and move to the higher levels. Therefore, I'd like to congratulate us and every of our supporters to announce that we can speak boldly of the penetration of curricula in biosafety and biosecurity into our higher institutions of learning in Nigeria. Even to the point of having postgraduate programs already mounted in the university system in Nigeria. I understand that National Universities Commission has been involved in some of our programs and have helped to facilitate this. But it is important that we say it loud than here, that there is need to further help the introduction and incorporation of biosafety and biosecurity not just one, two, every university. We must put it on record that there are more than 160 universities in Nigeria. So you can imagine curricula in biosafety and biosecurity being incorporated into 160 universities in the country. Then we must have taken a big flight, not a leap, not a jump, but a flight to the higher levels. That is what I mean by paradigm changing. Again, in terms of paradigm shift, we need to go to the realms of practice, that we must put every knowledge that we are gathering in the area of biosafety and biosecurity into our practice. What I mean by this, therefore, is that it will be important for the Nigerian Biosafety Association to look back, check on every of our members and see that they are doing what they are supposed to be doing to enhance the practice of biosafety and biosecurity in our facilities. In 2020, in the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Nigerian Biosafety Association collaborated with the Federal Ministry of Health, and we went around more than 72 facilities in the 6 geopolitical zone to carry out biorisk assessments. Can Dr. Stella Udo just give a wave to the people? Thank you very much. That is the Honorable Vice President of the Nigerian Biosafety Association. But she actually was the consultant on that project, and she did a yeoman's job from the preparatory stage to the execution stage and to the report submission to the collaborating authority. What that means is that NiBSA has been very instrumental to ensuring that biosafety and biosecurity in their various facilities are on course. We expect that there will be a follow-up from the agency, and I'd like to turn this also to the Veterinary Council of Nigeria, to the Nigerian nursing. Is it only nursing or I need midwifery? Yes, because I know that my mom was a nurse and a midwife. Okay, I don't know if it has changed now, but she was. What we all have roles to play in all of this. Sir, NSCDC, we have some of our members that are from your corps. I know there is one in Gomu, there is one in Yola. So what we therefore have to say at this time is that we want you to continue to join hands with us. And I'm sure that DITRA is not yet tired. Okay, in fact, the country office of DITRA is just about 1 year old in Nigeria. And so that is facilitating a lot of things for us. I'd like to use this opportunity to welcome you. And that at the end of this conference, I believe we will have generated more light than heat. Not that there will be no heat at all. There will be some heat to warm us up, but not to get us hot or burnt. Light is better than heat, I think. Thank you very much for tolerating me in this address. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we just have the president of NiBSA, Professor Abiodun, giving his welcome address. That was a charge. Thank you so much, sir. Another round of applause for you. NiBSA. Oh, are we here? NiBSA. Thank you so much. I will be doing that almost every interval. So as it will, with all kinds of humility and due respect, I would like to recognize and at the same time bring to the top table the representative of the Registrar / CEO, Medical Laboratory Council of Nigeria, He is a deputy registrar. I'm referring to no other person but Dr. Lorena Oko. Please put your hands together for her as she steps to the ITB. The more we clap, the faster she goes there. Thank you so much and your welcome, ma'am. We celebrate you. All right, we are moving ahead on the goodwill messages. Please join me as I invite the representative of the Controller General of the NiBSA, Commandant Oladiyi Babalola, for their goodwill message. Please put your hands together for me. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Chairman, Dr. Takupu Peterside, in absentia, I recognize the presence of the President, Nigerian Biological Safety Association, Professor Denloye. I recognize the presence of the representative of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria and the National Council of Nurses and Midwives, and other members of the high table. Let me start by also recognizing every member of this association. I bring greetings and felicitations from the Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Dr. Abubakar Ahmed Daudi, MNI, UFR. My name is Babalola Olani. I'm a pharmacist and the Commandant of Corps in charge of disaster management, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. I want to speak to the address of the Commandant General. He would have been here physically, but because of the other assignment. At this time, he's attending to a very, very important assignment at the national headquarters. He brings greetings and felicitations to the President and every member of the association. The Civil Defense Corps is a member of the International Civil Defense Organization, headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. The core mandate of the Civil Defense Corps is in the area of the maintenance of peace and order, and of course in rescuing seafood populace during emergencies, either emergencies of natural, that are natural or man-made in nature. In the Corps, we have a disaster management department and another department that we call CPRM, that is the chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and the Corps happens to be one of the stakeholders and first-line responders in the management of emergencies, particularly of biological origin. Little wonder, we are actively involved in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria with other responders, and also privileged to be actively involved in the review committee of the draft of the National Biosecurity Policy and Action Plan. I want to congratulate the President and every member of this association that the policy was eventually approved by the Federal Council Executive, by the Federal Executive Council. And I believe it gives a bite to the National Biosecurity Council, and of course, a feather to the cap of every member of this association. We are proud to be associated with your association for the good work of protecting the public from disasters of biological origin. We are conscious of your professional practices. And just as the president has observed, we have so many members of your association in our core. I may not know whether they are duly registered or not. But certainly, you cannot be in the department of the CPR, Chemical, Biological, Radiological, Nuclear department, and be called out to come and serve in management of such disaster if you are not a member of this association. We wish your association well, and we wish you successful deliberation. And as we progress to the Christmas and the New Year, we wish everybody that has traveled to this end safe journey back to their radio stations. We wish all of us Merry Christmas and New Year in advance. We are proud to be associated with you, and we will continue to do everything humanly possible to serve and to continue to respond to clarion call from your association. We thank you and really appreciate the privilege of being invited to this your conference. Thanks and God bless you all. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, can we please give him another round of applause? The goodwill message from the NiBSA is an assurance that they are in support of this association. NiBSA, thank you so much. When he was making his speech, giving the goodwill message, a Nigerian politician who was formerly the Director General of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NiBSA, between March 2016 and 2020. Prior to his role at NiBSA, he was a member of House of Representatives. And to the glory of God today, he's standing in as the chairman of this occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, if your heads are not busy, join me as we welcome Right Honorable Dr. Yakubu Ado Kupasai. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome. You know, big man is tight and busy schedule. In view of this, I am sure it is appropriate to bring it on right away for chairman's opening remarks. If you all agree with me, say hi. If I agree with me, let's go to say, where is that? Look at this together for the chairman can speak. You are welcome.
The President, Nigerian Biological Safety Association, other very distinguished personalities on this side of the table, and indeed higher personalities on the other side of the table. I've seen some very top level professionals in our midst, and I don't think I will attempt to recognize them individually because we will not live here today. So let me, as Nigerians will say, whether it's right English or not, rest on the already established protocol. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will start with an apology because the organizing committees are aware that I had planned to be here before 10, actually by night. And they called me to say, please stay back until we are ready for you. So it's not my style to come late to function. I understand it's acceptable in Nigeria. It doesn't make it right, the fact that people do it. So thank you for the honor of inviting me to chair this conference. And I don't like reading. The master of ceremony, asks whether chairman should speak now or not. I'm a Nigerian politician with a difference. And he asked that those who want chairman to speak now should say aye. And those who don't want chairman, who want chairman to speak later, say nay. As a former member, I had expected that he would respect the voices. But when he said the nays carry the day, like he ruled on the side of the eye, I said this must be a Nigerian. Is it not a Nigerian? But that's not the Nigeria of our dream. That's not the Nigeria of the future. That's not the kind of Nigeria I want to bequeath to our children. But of course, you understand that that's just to lighten the mood in the room. He did not read the election. Please clap for him. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here at the annual conference, AGM, of the Nigerian Biological Safety Association. And as chairman, my remarks will be very brief. The first is to remind you that as practitioners in that space, you have a responsibility. Not only to the places you work, but to the society as a whole. One thing is clear. The entire gamut of biotechnology is critical to human survival today, whether in the area of healthcare, in agriculture, in veterinary medicine, and indeed in industrialization or virtually all spheres of life. But it comes with a lot of hazard. And those hazards must be identified, analyzed, its impact determined, and mitigated. And that's where biological safety practitioners are very relevant and germane. And indeed, you know that it's a teamwork. The management of biological risk associated with biotechnology is not the duty of only one set of people, practitioners. We have regulators, and I'm proud to say Nigeria is among the few African countries with proper regulatory framework for biosafety management. And so you have practitioners on one side, you have regulators on another side, but most importantly, you have the general public and the environment that we have borrowed from the future. All of them are important and must play a critical role in managing biosafety. Beyond that, so we must work as a team. The regulators are not on one side, practitioners on one side, no. All of us are working towards a common purpose. We may disagree on a few things, but we agree on few common grounds. Common ground one is the fact that safety is a priority for everybody. Those of us who handle biological material don't want to pay with our lives. And if you extend it to biosecurity, even the organisms who handle pathogens animals. We don't also want them to cause much harm to society. Then the society itself that want to benefit from biotechnology do not want to be exposed to further hazard. And we don't want to destroy the environment if we borrow from the future. So all of us must work as a team in a common direction. Having said that, the other important thing is the area of proactiveness. Because we've identified that biotechnology, biosecurity, handling of biological materials comes with some hazard. This hazard must be properly studied, its impact evaluated, and we put in place mitigation measures so that nobody pays the price trying to advance the good of society. Government, therefore, must give appropriate attention to issues of biosafety and biosecurity. I'd like to also take you to a new frontier, which we often neglect, that has to do with biosecurity. In the northeast part of the country, for more than 10, 15 years, we've been fighting with terrorists, trying to contain terrorists. One weapon that is available to them is bioterrorism. And as a country, we keep pretending as if it's not possible because our science or the technology has not taken us there. But there's no time they will gather us and say, we are now going to use biological weapons on the people. These guys are desperate, they can use anything. We have a role to sensitize and enlighten society on the possibility of the use of biological weapons by these terrorists. Aside from that, we need to partner with government to mitigate the likely impact, if they choose to, if possible, to monitor what they're doing and put in place mitigation measures. Peradventure, they resort to biological weapons to fight the warfare, not just in the northeast. In other parts of the country, you recall that during the Nigerian Civil War, my brothers from that part of the country, the eastern part of the country, within a short period, developed what is called the Winigo technology. And so it is not unlikely that anybody can resort to bioterrorism just to score a cheap point. The lives are wasting. There's absolutely no need for it. So if they're going to resort to bioterrorism, in other parts of the world, it is regulated, so it's not as easy as that. But here, because regulations are lax, enforcement of regulation is weak. Institutions are weak. They may resort to it and they endanger the lives of the rest of us. And so, as an association, as practitioners, we owe society that duty, we owe government that duty, we owe people that duty of raising the alarm that, look, these guys might resort to bioterrorism for one reason or the other, and begin to put in place measures to contain it and to mitigate it. That's one message I want you to take away from today's conference. Now, the other one is the fact that we have not optimized the benefit of using biotechnology for rapid development in diverse areas. I know as an association, we have focused more on the medical use of biotechnology, and if I extend it further, research on biotechnology. What's happening in agriculture? We're a country of 200 million people or 220 million people. We don't need to get to the point where food will become an issue. With biotechnology, we can produce more food for our people, we can feed our people, we can export agricultural products and earn more money from agricultural products. That's another area we need to focus on. But doing that, our people need to be safe. Genetically modified food and products is becoming common. And though I prefer natural grown food than genetically modified, but it's also an option as a people. 220 million people is a lot. Between 200 and 220 million people are a lot. The number is a lot. And so that's one area. And so as we do our oversight function, as we do for the regulators, as we do our regulatory duties, let's look into agriculture. Then what of industries? So we shouldn't restrict ourselves to the medical field alone, whether in agriculture, in industries or manufacturing, and in other spheres of life where they use biotechnology, whether in veterinary medicine. We should begin to show serious interest and enlighten government. Government cannot know everything. We are all part of government. Government is representative of the people. And so we are the people. We need to educate them on the potentials in biotechnology as well as the hazards. I didn't just say the potentials. The potentials as well as the hazards. We need to collaborate. We on one side, those who have been elected to represent us and the regulators, we all need to collaborate for the good of our people, to protect them from hazard, to do a risk assessment, to ensure we put mitigation measures in place. And to do that, we need to put policies in place. Go look for funding, monitor, support research work, and indeed, make sure we work as a team in a common direction. On that note, I want to commend the Nigerian Biological Safety Association for laying the foundation for the future development of the practice of biosafety. You are playing a critical role. Society owes you a lot. We may not know the level of hazard we'll be exposed to if you're not playing the preaching role you're playing to. If you're not you're doing right now, if you're not providing us with scientific information, if you're not pushing government to live up to her responsibility, if you're not partnering with the regulatory authorities so that they too will not relax, they must take their enforcement duty seriously without being adversarial. There's something called adversarial collaboration. We may not even agree on your method, but let's even agree on the desired outcome. The desired outcome in this case is safety of all Nigerians, safety of those who handle biological substances, safety of those who use biological materials, safety of those who benefit from biotechnology, and finally, safety of all Nigerians. Indeed, we are an extension of Nigeria. As you continue to contribute to the development of biosafety as a profession, as an area that can help leapfrog development in our country, all I can say is that the spirit of Nigeria is with you. God will bless all of you. And I wish you a successful conference. And at the end of this conference, please, I pray that government take our resolutions seriously. They should not only take it seriously, let them act on it. Conferences like this will not be worthwhile if government don't take action on resolutions. We are the professionals. We are those who encounter these things on a daily basis. And I don't think any other sector of society will know better than those of us who are the front lines advancing the practice of biosafety. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am sure with all facts and figures that our dear chairman deserves another round of applause. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, NiBSA impact evaluation of hazard. Partnering with government to monitor the activities of those involved in bioterrorism. Raising alarm on this. Please, another round of applause for Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much. If I do, I can pick from all without writing anything down. God bless you, sir. While the chairman was speaking, another important guest walked into our midst. Members of the top table, distinguished scientific researchers, health practitioners, security personnel, ladies and gentlemen of the press. If your heads are not busy, it is my pleasure, as you all join me, to welcome the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Plateau State, our dear old Daniel Nambo Lisi. Honorable member representing Lankan North Central Constituency of the Labour Party in Plateau State House of Assembly. Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome. Members of the top table, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving forward on our good message. may I invite Olivia Manager. Put your hands together. All right, you can go ahead, Olivia.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's a
morning.
great honor. Can you hear me well? So it's a great honor for me to be online with you. I wish I could have been in presential, but as Professor Denloy explained it, I'm currently in Cotonou with another commitment where we are currently organizing a training on the WUNET platform. The WUNET platform that is being developed by WHO to save the data on antimicrobial resistance, which, as was said by all my predecessors, is also a very important topic. And so I'll have to rush back once I've done this presentation. So you will apologize me if I don't stay the whole conference, but really I'm very pleased to be with you with this distinguished assembly. And I hope that I can inform you on the activities that we are doing with the West African Health Organization. So I'll switch off also my camera because I have bad connection here, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, this is now on slideshow. So, as I said, it's a great honor for me to present to you some of the work that we are doing at the West African Health Organization on biosafety and biosecurity, and in particular, the birth and implementation of the West African Biorisk Management Network that we have put in place over the last few years with the contribution of all the associations represented on the logos on this slide, and also with the IFB, the International Federation of Biosecurity Associations. And I must say, with a massive contribution from NiBSA and great collaboration with Professor Denloy and his team. And IFBA is also very active throughout the world in advocating and especially in training and in certification for biosecurity. So I'm Dr. Olivier Manigat. I'm a virologist by training, and I've spent more than 25 years now in the whole Africa, in the whole continent, I must say, working as a lab director or as a coordinator of laboratories activities, which I'm presently doing with my colleague, Dr. Abdurrahman Sow, on the project which aims to strengthen epidemiological surveillance through laboratory system in the ECOWAS region. And my presentation will therefore focus on West Africa, where we work. So to summarize the issue of biorisk management in Africa, since the early 2000s, programs have been developed to put in place quality management systems, which already included a large biosafety, biosecurity component throughout the continent. But at the beginning, I must say, especially in South and East Africa. And my lab that you can see in this picture in Zambia, in Lusaka, was accredited in the context of implementation of HIV vaccine trials in 2007, along with many other laboratories in the region that were involved in the same International AIDS Vaccine Initiative project. And I would like to point out here that the implementation of quality management systems already covers many biosecurity, biosafety aspects to a large extent. Unfortunately, we have to admit that in West Africa, we have often delayed, and that even today we still have many labs, including some national reference laboratories, which work in unacceptable biosafety and biosecurity conditions, as we can see on these pictures that were taken recently. And one does not need to be a great certified expert or a great detective to understand that we are outside acceptable international standards here. However, these concepts of biorisk management are not new, as the first edition of the WHO Biosafety Manual was published in 1983. The second and third editions were published in 1993 and 2004, respectively, and the fourth edition we are using today was published in 2020. And the other major institutions that cover the One Health aspects have also been considering them for a long time. And the International Federation for Biosafety Association was established in 2010, officially, although they started their activities in the early 2000s. So a lot of work has been done by several teams to assess the level of implementation of biorisk management in West Africa. The first important work that constitute the premises of the ProLab project, which I'm running, was carried out by WHO in 2015 after the Ebola epidemic. And the report can be seen here. Subsequently, our team also worked on this aspect during our visit for the ProLab phase 1 in late 2018. Next, a lab investigation commanded by WHO was done by the GET group from Professor Abayomi to evaluate the legal and practical aspects of biosecurity in West African region. And a similar work was done by African CDC on the whole continent, but also including among the 5 regions, obviously West Africa. And our partner for ProLab, the Fondation Mérieux, is also very active in training and advocating for implementation of biosecurity in many different regions of the world, including some ECOWAS countries. So these are the main reports to our knowledge about the biorisk management situation in our region. And in addition, WHO has developed a laboratory strategic plan 2018-2022, ending now, based on the following 13 points cited on this slide. Strategic plan, which was validated in 2017 by laboratory experts, and perhaps some of you were there at that time during a workshop in Togo. And this strategic plan was also validated by ministries of health at the 19th Assembly of Ministers in June 2018. And it includes a biosafety and biosecurity component, as well as the implementation of quality management systems among the 13 priority programs. All these different works have led to the reflections on the possibility and necessity of creating a West African biosafety network, and several events favor its birth. First, a meeting in Tunisia between some of the existing biosafety associations in the region with the support of IFBA, and NiBSA was there, and also with the support of ASLM, our African Society of Laboratory in Medicine, where in Tunisia, where this was discussed, and then its first materialization with the involvement of WHO at a meeting in Dakar a little later in 2018, which also involved many key partners, including WHO, IFBA, Fondation Mérieux, NiBSA, GET, Institut Pasteur de Dakar, where the meeting took place, etc. And following this, very quickly, a working group was established, a group which was more recently has been expanded to include other experts in order to also extend the reflections on the different aspects needed for the network. And it is important to note that we, together with this very prestigious technical working group, created and validated the terms of reference of the West African Biological Risk Management Network, the WABNet, on the 22nd of October 2021 in a virtual conference. And this activity was attended by more than 50 participants from all ECOWAS countries, but also important partners like African CDC, WHO, European Union, etc. So I assume that many of you were also present at this meeting. So finally, the WAHO, the West African Health Organization Core Technical Working Group, has been working to produce a draft strategic plan, which includes the following elements, which I will now present to you. First of all, the vision. The vision is to have a sustainable biosafety and biosecurity capacity, and that's for both facilities and human resources that should be available in West Africa to enable the proper safe and secure handling of dangerous and high-risk pathogens. And then the mission, to ensure the availability of effective certified facilities in the region, to ensure the availability of scientifically trained and certified human resources, and then to have policies, guidelines, and standard operating procedures, which are often the backbone of a good work that has to be accomplished. And I encourage everyone here to develop such tools to work in any of the conditions where we are working. So WAHO will serve as a platform for the network, advocating and facilitating the adoption of standardized and uniform approaches across the 15 ECOWAS member states. And the WABNet will in turn serve as a WAHO platform for the coordination and harmonization of biosafety and biosecurity. And this as an essential element of effective public health security systems. So this draft strategic plan, conceived with great input from Prof. Denloy and Prof. Jibril Sangare from Mali and the IFBA, includes the 5 pillars that are presented in this figure that I stole from Maureen Ellis, the IFBA director. And it's always the same where, what, how, and who. So where was a bit everything that I just described, the situational analysis and how to develop a strategy and what do we want to do. I will explain you what we put in the strategic plan. So the strategy, how will we achieve those goals, is building this strategic action plan, which is a key element of the development of the WABNet at this stage. And who? I will explain you how we plan to develop this and how we plan to have a governance system for the WABNet. And obviously, we will have to monitor everything that will be done. So to do this, we have a few priority activities that we are targeting, and those are the following. Finalize the governance and organizational structure of the WABNet, the technical working groups, the sub-regional executive officers. So identify the committees or technical working group that are needed to implement the plan, and that is technical working group on policies, governance, finance, membership, or how to attract key stakeholders, engagement, the communication, etc. And next, review the relevant WAHO policies, procedures, and guidelines that we have already developed, and I'll cite a few of them, and adjust the WABNet policies to these. And next, to develop a financial system strategy to mobilize resources and support the WABNet membership. So how do we plan to, we are projecting to work this way, and obviously this will have to be approved by all of you. So at the central place is the WABNet Executive Secretariat, that should be based at the West African Health Organization. And we have very efficient people there who could lead these activities, and they will be headed by advisory boards. And one of them is the Biorisk Management Advisory Board, which could be made of National Biosafety Association presidents and many other key stakeholders. And another board is the Board of Certification and Training. And obviously, we want to strengthen our links with the IFBA. And then we have this landscape of many different committees or technical working groups that will emerge from the network of volunteers that we have in many different countries. And all of this should work together to have efficient systems. So the financial and costs, the WAPNet Biological Risk Management Advisory Committee should be responsible for securing adequate resources. And this should be done in alignment with the WAHO financial structure and reported also by the WAHO finance team to the WAPNet executive management. So we are also building a comprehensive performance logic model to measure the progress towards our expected results. And this includes key indicators with obviously baseline values and the expected level of achievement, the source where we will obtain the data, the risk and assumptions, and the monitoring by the executive management and the committee chairs. And then, as I said, there should be a report to the advisory committee, WAPNet members, partners, stakeholders, and funders. So perhaps what interests you more is what have we been achieved so far. And as I told you, WAHO has a laboratory strategic plan, and an important part of this quality is the quality management system implementation throughout the ProLab project. And we are using for this the WHO SLIPTA 5 stars approach tool to assess our progress with the support of a partner. And as I said, this partner is ASLM, the African Society for Laboratory in Medicine. And the SLIPTA progress applies to 25 laboratories that we are now covering since the start of the ProLab phase 2 in July 2021 at WAHO. So you can see a first workshop was organized in Dakar in October 2018 that showed that there was a great disparity between the laboratories of the project, and that the level was generally low in the ECOWAS region. So we've trained a cohort of auditors and coaches, and we've conducted audits and coaching sessions so that we can consider that we have entered a form of a routine where most of our laboratories have the motivation to progress in this process. And we therefore observe drastic improvements for most of them. And if necessary, I have a table that summarizes the progress made for each of the laboratories in phase 1 and phase 2. And we have many coaches who are doing this work currently as we speak. And I must say that in Nigeria, we support 4 laboratories that have been progressing very quickly, and we're very proud of them. And that includes some of the lab at the Nigerian CDC, CPHL, the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, a virology lab, and the NVRI in Jos. So as we all know, biorisk management covers the protection of personnel as well as the protection of samples against theft or damage, as this was said by my predecessors. And we have set up several activities around this important topic. First of all, we organized another workshop in Dakar with the key actors, which I already mentioned, of the sub-region, to harmonize the training curriculum for trainers in the sub-region. And following the creation of the WAPNet, we organized a training of trainers workshop in Niamey, and you can see the picture here, in November 2021, and during which we trained more than 30 participants on the first module of the IBA training curriculum. And this curriculum contains 5 modules. And next, after another training was conducted at the end of June 2022 in Ouagadougou. And we have now certified more than 30 people in West Africa with IFBA. But about this meeting in Dakar, an important decision was taken that I would like to remind here and that we publish quickly all together, as you can see on the right. And this is the fact that the people who will be trainers on biorisk management in the region will have to have at least been certified for the first 2 modules of the IFBA training, which are the biorisk management and second, the biosecurity. And this, in order to avoid any potential like wacky people who could claim to be experts without having had any real certifying training. And my humble myself have made the effort to go through this training successfully. So I encourage all interested people to take these important steps. And I'm sure that in this room, many of you have been through this. With regard to the management of biomedical waste or waste from healthcare activities at risk of infection, we continue to develop guidelines and to advocate for the use of incinerators or waste banalization stations and to turn them into income-generating activities. So the ProLab project provides incinerators or equivalent equipment to the 9 countries that are now involved in the project. So besides to assess the situation in the ECOWAS and to develop a policy that was approved at the last meeting of health ministers, and that was in May 2022, WAHO sent questionnaires to all 15 countries and carried out a more in-depth analysis with sites visits to 5 countries and developed a roadmap and next a strategic plan to tackle this important problem. And more recently, we organized a meeting in Abidjan to validate the strategic plan with countries to implement activities in each country of the ECOWAS. And you can see on the right side this strategic plan that is currently finalized. And also, I want to mention that we developed also a biosecurity policy that was also approved by the Assembly of Health Ministers in Accra in May 2022. And so I encourage all of you to go through it. So I would like to say just a few words about the specific ProLab project that is run by WAHO and what we have to do according of the terms of reference of our project. So the project is divided in 2 major components. The component 1 focuses on strengthening equipment for reference laboratories. At the beginning, it was in 4 countries for the first phase. And during this first phase, we targeted 11 laboratories in Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Niger, and Nigeria. And we've now started phase 2 and extended the project to 25 laboratories in 5 additional countries, which are Ghana, Senegal, Guinea-Conakry, Guinea-Bissau, and the Gambia. And we have around 20 million of euros to do this. And this is important to mention, I think, because this often helps laboratories to reach the standards that are needed for having the ISO 159 accreditation. Component 2 aims to strengthen countries around the major themes. So I mentioned most of them. The backbone is quality management systems through the CIPTA process. And but next, we also train people on 4 cost-cutting themes. And those are the biomedical waste management, as I say, the biosafety and biosecurity already developed. And we do also sample transport and data management through implementing LIMS, Laboratory Informatized Management System. So please feel free to ask me some question on this because I don't really have the time to develop what we are doing here on this. So I'll end up here by informing all of you to save the date, please, for the workshop we are organizing both in presential and virtually to validate our strategic plan. And this will be in Cotonou on the 30th of January next year. So please feel free to send any comment or any remarks to Dr. Abdurrahman So, my dear colleague at WAHO, Mrs. Chinelo Eburke, or myself before that date. And then I want to finish with really acknowledging all the members of the technical working group that has been slightly changed recently, and the contribution of all the associations and the financial and technical partners for which you can see the logos here on this slide. So I thank you very much, and I'm happy to have a discussion during a few minutes before I leave back to the WUNET training. Over to you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, can we can put the manager of WAHO a round of applause? Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. Mr. Shaban, sir, am I in order?
Excuse me, if people have questions to send it through his email, so that we will allow him to join the other activities he's involved in. Is that okay by everybody? Is it okay by everybody? Thank you very much.
The eyes have it this time. Well, thank you once again, Olivia Manager. Hello, Olivia. Are you still with us? Hello? Can you please display your email address so that people can copy to send you question remarks or... Hello, can you hear us?
Sorry, I have difficulties. I don't know if you hear me well. I hope so, but I cannot hear what you're saying.
Hello, can you display your email address so that people that ask questions, reaction can send to you directly?
Please send the questions in the chat box, and that would be easier, I think, for me, because I have difficulties to understand through at least one microphone of the meeting room.
It's all right, thank you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have any questions, you can write and send to the media so that they can key and send to you. Thank you so much. We are moving forward. With all sense of humility and due respect, I want to invite the representative of the Secretary General and Registrar of Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Dr. Mrs. Dorothy N. Orain, for their goodwill message. Please put your hands together for her.
Good morning, everybody. The chairman of this wonderful conference, Right Honorable Dr. Dakuku Peter Side, welcome. And I'm now standing on all established protocols. I am Dr. Mrs. Dorothy Nkiruka, representing the Secretary General and Registrar of Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Abuja, Dr. Farouk Omar Abubakar, who would have been here presently, but due to his tight schedule, he was unable to attend. Therefore, he delegated me to represent him. He sent his sincere greetings, and he said that I should thank the organizers of this conference and the distinguished participants that are here present, because without the distinguished participants, nothing will be happening here. So he sent his greetings for honoring that invitation. Council is pleased with this organization and this association for inviting the council to add their own voice on this topic that says building sustainable biosafety and biosecurity capacity for effective response against disease outbreak in Nigeria. The Nursing and Midwifery Council is an organization saddled with training of nurses and practice of nursing in the country. And for this to be possible, the council ensures that the training curricula are well loaded with strength of events, especially in biosafety and biosecurity. They also ensure that this training, the accreditation, for them to accredit any training institutions, all these biosecurity and biosafety and biosecurity must be present and adhered to strictly by the people working in that area. The council also ensures that after your training, when you are in the practical area, your capacity needs to be enhanced. How? By ensuring that before you renew your license, you are expected to attend what the country instituted as mandatory continuing professional development programs, where you are expected to acquire 6 credit loans, meaning 30 contact hours, for you to say that you are ready and you are still interested in being a nurse. Because once your license expires, you are no longer a nurse until you renew. From that, council have modules, about 18 modules for this program, MCPDP, to ensure that those who have been trained and now practicing are not left behind. As the issues are unfolding, especially current issues in health courses are unfolding, they are being carried along as well. While those in training institutions, the council reviews their curricula to include whatever that comes up that is trending in health sector. Like during COVID-19, our curriculum is now loaded with information on COVID-19, measures to prevent it, what should we do to prevent it and to control it. Also, during accreditation, also council ensures that the hospital has a section that we call quality assurance section that is domiciled under the head of nursing director in that health facility. that are expected to go around and ensure that the skills and competencies marshaled out in the curriculum are being adhered to and practiced effectively and efficiently. We cannot underrate the topic of this wonderful conference. Sustainability is all what we are lacking for, or what we lack aside once we are able to contain whatever that is facing us. We all can remember that during COVID-19 outbreak, all hands were on deck, both professional and unprofessional. You must do your own quota for us to prevent and control the disease as the thing is evolving. And thank God, because all hands were on deck, we were able to come out of it quickly. It's now for us to sustain it. If we were able to sustain the measures marshaled out by the federal government, I believe that all pathogens will equally be taken care of. Therefore, the registrar is wishing this conference and the organizers and the participants fruitful deliberation, while we say that we all should think responsibly and act responsibly. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Dr. Mrs. Dorothy N. O'Reilly, representing Secretary General / Registrar, Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. Can we please give her another round of applause? Thank you so much, ma'am. We celebrate you. And we are moving forward. May I use this medium to invite the country rep of DITRA, Mr. Olusegun, for his goodwill message. Put your hands together for him. Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Chairman, sir, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol while I make this opening remarks. I want to start by appreciating the leadership of NiBSA for this invitation and for giving me this opportunity to be here today. I was at your conference last year, and I'm also glad that I'm here today. Last year was in Lagos, and here, thankfully, you also brought it to Abuja, which is also a very good one. I hope that we go to another location next year by God's grace. As has been said, my name is Olusegun Oladejo. I work as the Regional Program Support Manager for DITRA, covering the West African sub-region. We have different programs in different countries, especially in the Anglophone Africa, where Anglophone West African countries that I cover. And I want to say that at DITRA, we recognize the work that NiBSA is doing, and we always want to see NiBSA expanding on their capacity and the capability to expand their footprints, not only in Nigeria, and also in the West African sub-region. We I've been supporting the NiBSA for quite a while over the years through our strategic partner, the Sandia National Laboratory based in the New Mexico in the United States. And we will continue to support activity that promotes biosafety, biosecurity, and biosurveillance in Nigeria, not only with NiBSA, but with other agencies that are saddled with the responsibility of preparing us for the next pandemic. I don't like to say that that's the next pandemic like we are expecting it, but you experts have said that whether we like it or not, it will come. So I hope they never come. But then we have to be prepared. And that's where DTRA comes in. Our goal globally is to reduce threats that may arise from biological, chemical, nuclear, radioactive material or pathogen. We are present in different countries, about 40 to 50 countries. We support national institutions, just like we are doing in Nigeria. And I must say that NiBSA is one of our oldest partners in Nigeria. We've done other activities around Africa. Well, talking about Nigeria, I think one association that has been receiving support from DTRA is NiBSA. And that's why we recognize your challenges, and we also know that there's a lot of potential. You are playing a very critical role, and we want you to continue to expand on your scope of work. I listened to the chairman very keenly, and he mentioned different areas where NiBSA should expand the scope of work. I also believe we at DTRA believe that NiBSA can play policy influencing role and also standardized practice of biosafety in Nigeria. And I'd like to also assure you that we will continue to support NiBSA in that regard and other Nigerian agencies. Recently, just last October, DTRA supported Nigerian delegation to participate at the International Annual Biosafety and Biosecurity Conference in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, United States of America. And I'm very glad to announce to you that of all the DTRA supported countries, Nigeria has the largest delegation at that conference. Our goal is to provide the opportunity and the platform for the Nigerian scientists, experts in biomedical field, to network with global leaders and also to share experiences and best practices that will be useful to strengthen our national response and preparedness. We have also supported key national lab facilities in Nigeria with state-of-the-art equipment, including incinerators, to manage biological waste. And currently, we are in the process of initiating a very substantial infrastructural upgrade of key national laboratories in Nigeria. And that also includes a provision of equipment and trainings and capacity. The goal is to contribute to Nigerian preparedness and also to build capability to prepare us for the next pandemic. We live in an interconnected world where the safety of one is the safety of all. And except everyone is safe, no one is actually safe. And at that point, we recognize that NiBSA has a very critical role to play, both in terms of developing and facilitating development of national framework, regulatory framework. But NiBSA also needs to collaborate because there are so many multiple agencies and partners that are involved in this. I'm happy to see the Nigerian security and civil defense. There are so many other partners that need to be involved. So we believe that together and with NiBSA playing that critical and leading role, we will eventually be ready to prevent and to mitigate whatever pandemics can become in the nearest future. At this juncture, I'd like to welcome you all once again to this conference, and I want to wish you all a fruitful celebration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olusegun Oladejo, country representative of DIFA. Please give him another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Chairman, members of the top table, distinguished scientists, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, on goodwill message, may I invite the representative of the Registrar, CEO, Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, Dr. Lorena Okoro.
The chairman of this occasion, the president of NiBSA, please permit me to stand on existing protocol as it has been properly stated, and also permit me to recognize somebody on the floor. Former Deputy Registrar of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. I need to give honor, to whom honor is due, my very senior colleague that is retired but not tired, and a model grandma in whose steps I am following. I recognize you, Dr. Seligo. Thank you for permitting me to do this. I stand before you representing Dr. Tosane Rabo, the Registrar CEO of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, who would have loved to be with all of us today, knowing that NiBSA is very close to his heart. He's not just here as the Registrar CEO, he's also present as a member of this association. He sends his regrets. You know the challenges of office. He has to be at another official event outside Abuja. So he made sure that he ports me back to Abuja to represent him in this occasion. Incidentally, I'm also a member of this association. So it's actually indeed a pleasure to be standing before you this morning, and I will read his address. Let me, on behalf of the management and staff of the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, felicitate with the leadership and the entire members of the Nigerian Biological Safety Association, NiBSA, for the successful hosting of our 5th annual conference and annual general meeting. As a proud member of this noble association, it is quite delightful for me to be here. I wish to sincerely appreciate the organizers of this event for inviting me and for putting this event together. The drive to sustain the annual hosting of this conference is only a strong attestation of your unwavering determination to sustain the promotion of biosafety and biosecurity in our dear country, Nigeria. Astoundingly, the theme of this year's conference, Building Sustainable Biosafety and Biosecurity Capacity for Effective Response Against this outbreak in Africa, is not just suitable, but is also relevant in the context of establishing sustainable biological risk management systems geared towards mitigating biological threats of public health concern. More so, the careful selection of erudite scholars to lead discussion on the theme and various subjects by the organizers further provides evidence to show the thoughtfulness and deep consideration that went into the planning of this event. Meanwhile, the management of MLSCN is quite pleased with the valuable contributions of NiBSA to biorisk management under the One Health approach, as reflected in your continuous trainings and workshops for different professionals. Remarkably, the practitioners of medical laboratory science are also beneficiaries from this platform created by NiBSA and have deployed the knowledge garnered for effective biorisk management in their various practices. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it might interest you to know that the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria, which is the statutory agency of government charged with the responsibility of regulating medical laboratory services and practice in Nigeria, has authorized the establishment, documentation, implementation, communication, maintenance, and continual improvement of biological risk management system in MLSCN-owned facilities, and by extension, in all medical laboratories in Nigeria. More so, the BRM system strategy has been developed and adopted. This is a demonstration of MLSCN management's commitment to the implementation of biorisk management system in medical laboratory facilities in the country. We are doing this in line with international best practices as contained in ISO 35001-2019. In support of the biorisk management system, a 5-man biorisk management committee and a BRM advisor stroke coordinator were inaugurated on the 15th of August 2022 with a mandate to operationalize the MLSCN BRM policy, which was unveiled during the inauguration. Furthermore, the management of MLSCN is committed to strengthen institutional capacity to drive the implementation of BRM system in Nigeria through trainings as reflected in the MLSCN BRM work plan for 2023, which have been adopted and incorporated into the council budget for 2023. I wish to thank the national president who personally came to MLSCN to be with us during the inauguration. We appreciate it, sir. Flowing from the above, MLSCN will continue to support NiBSA activities, collaborate with NiBSA and other key stakeholders in the promotion of biorisk management in Nigeria. While looking forward to an educative and interactive section during the conference, enjoy your stay in the Federal Capital Territory. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you please give her another round of applause? We just listened to the voice of Dr. Lorena Okoro, but giving the message of the registrar, CEO, Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. Thank you so much, Lorena. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the top table, with all kinds of humility and due respect, with facts and figures, for all of us that have been following this this morning, we are actually very close to the end of this opening ceremony. Immediately after now, I will be inviting the chairman LOC for vote of thanks, or anybody who must have delegated to do so. Then immediately after the vote of thanks, we all proceed for a photo section outside There's a big banner outside. That is where we are going to take the photograph. Then immediately after that, we come back for tea break. And we proceed to the first plenary section. And the first lecture that we are going to be taking then will be the role of legislation in combating pandemics in African regions by Honorable Daniel Nambo, Chairman, House Committee on Air, Plateau State House of Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we are almost at the end of this opening ceremony. Please put your hands together as Dr. Osarity will give us vote of thanks. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for the public speaker. I just learned in this country, everything is about packaging. We moved from MC to program moderator, and he came this morning to tell us that he's a public speaker, and he has done so publicly speaking. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for him. So I will actually start by thanking the public speaker for leading this section so wonderfully. Members and distinguished colleagues on the high table, on behalf of the chairman and the entire members of the local organizing committee, we want to thank you for your time this morning with us to graciously and distinguishedly open this conference, which is the 5th in the series of the Nigerian Biological Safety Association. I also want to thank our distinguished colleagues, proud members of the Nigerian Biological Safety Association, and I invited guests for making our time to be with us this morning. We have agreed that we have enjoyed a very good opening ceremony, and while we thank you, we look forward to you joining us in the plenary session. Once again, thank you on behalf of my very respected chairman, who is gallantly walking into the hall, Dr. Kingsley Ochi. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, Doctor. All right, we are proceeding for group photograph now. But before that, let me do just one thing. It's a reading, just one. And I'll be very happy if anybody can answer. Please, what is that thing that you cash that you cannot hold? God bless you, sir. You think that they do with me here? I am not for some photograph. Thank you. My name is Olakore Amola once again. I love you all. Thank you for having me. Wonderful guest.